Hey everybody, welcome to the Struggling Hunters. We're doing something new. Joe's been uh, doing the introductions for the last little while. He fired me from him. He said that I sucked at him, but I strong armed him tonight and told him no, I want to do it. So here I am. I'm doing the introductions. We'll start out with thanking you guys for listening and tuning in every week. We really appreciate the support and everything. It gets us excited all the time. And obviously I already called them out, but over on the other side of me is Joe, the big show. And so tonight we're gonna get into this and have a little fun. We've been doing the bow hunting article of let me get the title just exactly right. 10 tips for bow hunting elk. And we're on number 10. And number 10 is be aggressive. But before we get there, I want to just kind of do a quick recap and let you guys know last week we did hunt midday. Number 8 was set up in front. 7 was tag team bulls. 6 was sound like an elk. 5 was hunt hidey holes. 4 was find elk. 3 was be bivvy ready. 2 was practice, and number 1 was get into shape. And scrolling all the way down to the last one that we're going to bother you with on this topic for well, I mean, we're done with it. So is be aggressive. And I guess since we're there,
Be aggressive.
there you go. I was waiting for it.
I'm going back to high school days there and cheering.
Well, I'll let you, Joe, since you're so enthusiastic about it.
Let's go.
I'll let you kind of take it from there and tell us what you think about being aggressive in the hunting.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate you turning the mic back over to me and let me take off with my show tonight. Appreciate it.
If I was a little bit better at this stuff, I almost thought, I'm like, how long could I go without him getting a word in? But I was running out of material, so I was like, I better hand it back over.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being aggressive, you thought it was kind of interesting. I guess I should say I don't think it was interesting because I've always thought it was interesting, but I've heard stories of that before and watched a couple like YouTube videos and heard it firsthand of guys just kind of. So the article, I'm going off telling a story and people are like, oh, what, they're aggressive. What do they mean? So the article is talking about not being scared, like the last ditch effort. It's made it sound like if it's like your last day or all your cards are on the table and you don't know what else to do and the elk take off running, or they're moving from one point and they're going to probably cross right in front of you, but not exactly where you're at. But, in order to put yourself in a position, you got to take off running to get in front of them. And I think it's a good idea being aggressive and kind of taking off. And, what comes to mind as new elk hunters, kind of crazy. We call ourselves new elk hunters, but we've been in the hunting world like our whole life. But anyways, going back to it and understanding being aggressive and taking off. So the article, it's like, don't be scared to run into the herd and, blow your cow call as you go in and make sound like you're just like a lost cow elk or something. And like, you can, like kind of throw them off guard or like I was saying, run and get in front of them. And I kind of get lost for a minute because when you're being aggressive, it's not that you're throwing all of caution out in the wind and just, being a maniac running through the woods, but you're still trying to, conceal yourself, I think. But you're not scared of making noise at this point. Because, if you're running, you're kind of a little bit heavier footed. And, you can't quite watch where your foot's going to land. So you're going to probably kick rocks, break some branches, or step on some twigs. And it was just kind of different, like as I've internalize that thought of being aggressive and so in other words too is not being scared to make a little bit of noise at this point.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of the point is what you're trying to do is sound big and heavy going through the woods. So maybe, and then calling your cow calls. So that way they think you're just another elk frantically going through the woods.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with everything you said. I guess my only added piece of advice there is, or I guess is I did that whenever I was hunting and I missed my elk. I feel like I've been saying that like every podcast, the last few podcasts, but
well, it's like one of those things, like, oh yeah, I had this one experience.
Yeah,
yeah. I want to tell you about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to really beat it in, I guess. I don't know, but
we get it, Eric. You did see an elk.
Yeah.
It took you 3 years, but you did see an elk.
Yeah. Well, I made a play on an elk, really. That's the kicker.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal anything from you. Downplay it.
Well, kind of another angle of being aggressive though is after I missed and I'm sitting there scratching my head, like I'm out of opportunities, I mean, I've been
Right.
hunting all, and I just literally seen these elk just run right past me. So I'm like, I'm out of opportunities. What am I going to do? And I was like, I'm going to go for broke and I'm going to call. And I called, and to my surprise, the elk called back and we went on a calling battle. And I've told the story before, obviously, after I came back on the podcast and had my hunt. But eventually, I think two things that probably happened is he either winded me or he saw me, but we were bugling back and forth for forever. I mean, for quite a while. And I was trying to run. Every time he'd bugle, I'd bugle back and I'd start kind of making my way toward him. And the only thing I can imagine is, I guess, yeah, he either saw me or he winded me. And so, it got blown up, but I was glad that I did that though. That was a last ditch aggressive move to, like, hey, I just shot at this thing, go for broke and lay out a bugle, see what happens. And it actually kind of worked. Didn't end up working in the long run, but it, I got some activity right away. So it was on that perspective of being aggressive. I mean, yeah, I think it's a good move in the right scenarios.
Right. Correct. And yeah, like right scenarios. And like I said, it's interesting as we've been trying to learn and understand elk and becoming better hunters. And it seems like it always comes back to when you're hunting elk to not be scared to make noise at times. I mean, it's not like, going through and yelling or whatnot, but not being scared of, if you break a twig, it's not the end of your hunt,
Yeah.
And like I keep, that's like when I'm thinking I'm hunting, it's like I broke twigs or I'm like, God dang it, like there goes my hunt. I'm done now for the day. I blew everything out of here.
That's that whitetail mentality though.
Right.
Whenever we were growing up, whitetail hunting all the time. I mean, you really tried not to break a twig so you could maneuver through the woods and hopefully run into a whitetail.
Kind of thinking on that, trying to understand the why. And the only thing I can kind of come up with is just in the 2 minutes that we've been on this subject, and I'm trying to act intelligent and come to a synopsis on my own. But elk, they're more nomadic, meaning like they kind of have maybe a cycle that they go through for a month longer. I don't know what it is, but like they'll hang out in an area for a little bit, then they'll move to another area. And I don't know, I can't say that they go to one area, like, if they have 6 areas, they got, this is my number 1, number 2, and they just kind of work in a circle, or if they go from area 1 to area 3 and then area 4, or if they just work around in a circle till I hit them all. Anyways, what I was getting at is where elk are so nomadic and always moving that they can't really typically maybe come to what's going on in the area, whereas a whitetail, it'll live within 1 square mile of its whole life within that geographical area, unless it really gets bumped or pushed.
So
And so
what you're saying is when something's different for a whitetail, he knows.
correct.
But an elk is a little more nomadic, moves around a little more, doesn't necessarily always familiar with the area like a whitetail would be.
Right. And they're in a bigger herd, used to having more numbers around them. And so more, and that if you have more numbers, you have more noise.
But one thing that they all use though is their little spies.
True.
Like whenever you're walking around in the woods and you bump a cow or something and didn't realize you did, or
right.
She's gonna spot you before the bull will most of the time.
Right.
Or I don't know. I've had that happen to me, and
no, that's true. I mean, no, just like I said, I've
had it happen. I've had it happen with deer too. Deer are pretty cautious that way.
Right. Yeah. Full of hot air. No, so it's just, and then of course you can always overthink it and really get yourself going down a rabbit hole. Then you're just sitting at the trailhead not knowing what to do because you're so lost in thought and you're scared to do anything.
Yeah. Sometimes that's what I want to do. Just set it.
Sometimes like I wonder, like, if I'm trying to decide what to do, I'll take 2 steps one direction, change my mind and walk another direction. Then I'm like, nope, I want to go back this way. So I'll sit there and walk back and forth before I make up my mind. And I'm like, is there someone watching me?
Yeah. I always wonder that too. Sometimes I'm like, is there somebody glassing up above me or something, just watching me going, what is this guy doing?
Right. But yeah, so I guess on that topic, I wasn't going to spend this long on it, but we went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but hopefully it was fun going down it. But just being aggressive and not being scared to running into a herd if ever needed be in calling. But
check this transition out though. So speaking of being aggressive, this last week I aggressively watched the second part of all the Meateater episodes.
Did you aggressively do it in one night?
You know what? I think I did.
You little mister.
I didn't watch them all. I think they came. I think they all came out February 2nd, but I didn't watch them till like Saturday or Sunday, so I had time to watch them all.
Yeah,
there was like 4 or 5 episodes is all.
Right. And I'm currently on the turkey hunt one, which I thought was pretty cool. The Hawaii goat hunt, that one was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
where they actually hunting feral goats. Not like some new other what do you call it? Species of goat, but it's actually kind of feral goats.
Yeah, so you watch the fish dive or scuba diving, whatever I can't remember what they call that. Yeah. And then the goats and then the turkey.
Uh-huh.
Or you're on the turkey now?
I'm on the turkey now.
Yeah, the one thing I like about Meateater is opening your mind to other types of hunts out there. We've been so traditional, always kind of going after. When we were in Idaho, we went after whitetail mostly, and
right,
a little bit of elk, but never really had that success with elk up there either. And then since you moved to Utah and me to Colorado, we've been hitting the elk a lot more. But yeah, to I never knew that Hawaii had those kind of hunts, you know.
Right.
There's some I don't want to spill the beans, but New Mexico has a hunt that you'll think is pretty cool, and it made me want to. I'm like, man, was it New Mexico? Yeah, I think it was New Mexico. Now I feel like I might be off on that, but it was either New Mexico or Arizona. I can't remember now, but I don't want to spill the beans too much, but you'll know what I'm talking about though. Whenever you see it, you'll be like, oh, I want to do that too.
Well, I want to do them all anyways, but I'm sure I will.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But no,
that's true. Yeah, almost everything. I'm like, oh, that looks like fun to hunt.
right?
Did you finish the turkey
No,
episode? Oh, what they did with the turkey, the cooking portion of it,
I haven't got to that yet.
that
Pretty good.
it looks pretty good. I definitely want to try it whenever I get a turkey.
Well,
The-
yeah, we'll have to this year.
yeah, I like that they do that in their episodes though.
No, that's true. That's it's interesting with like to watch them do that and create something that looks good. Some of the dishes, I'm like, I don't even know if I could, if I'm brave enough to even try it, but
Like the
they
raw
seem
fish.
to, yeah, raw fish and like tongue, liver. I know people love liver and stuff, and I haven't never tried it, but I don't know.
Yeah. The heart, I'm a heart guy. I'm not much of a liver guy. Just it's a texture thing. And I guess the taste can be a little strong, but it's not much. From what I remember, it's not much stronger than the heart taste, but I could do the heart. It's just the liver is a little hard for me. I did the
Mm,
heart on my mule deer this year, so it's strong, but I like it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like since I'm okay with it with eating the organs and stuff, or well, the
yeah,
heart at least, I feel like it's kind of like it's really dumb, but I just feel like it's kind of my duty to like do that for the animal, to eat its heart. I
make
don't
sure
know.
not that much goes to waste.
Yeah, it makes sense if you don't think about it really.
Yeah,
So
if I don't think about it, it does make sense.
yeah, yeah. So
But
uh
talking about that though, like eating heart and liver and stuff, that stuff is pretty nutritious for you. And
yes.
and it's good for you. It's where where it was eating, where it's getting its food, and you kind of know what it is you're putting into your system to keep yourself healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely makes you I feel like especially whenever I ate my deer heart this last season, I it was probably all placebo, but I was like, oh, I do feel different. I feel like I really getting the nutrients or whatever,
Yeah.
um like I said, it's probably all placebo or probably what I wanted, but I really enjoyed it. But yeah, speaking of just nutrients and doing all that, I guess I'll break it open like this: is we got a comment on our YouTube channel, basically asking about nutrition and working out and what we kind of think on that matter. And I'll open it up as with this is I know the older we get, I think working out is more and more important to do all the time. Whenever I was younger, I was horrible about, spring and summer, I would start getting a little more physically active, and I would drop weight or whatever. And then like wintertime would come and it would all come back. And as I've gotten older though, I've realized like the recovery of everything is just so much more intense, and everything hurts a little more. And, so it's so important to try to stay active all the time, just keep moving all the time. So, with the question of like, when should you start working out? I think you should do something all year around, and maybe like 2 months before you actually start hunting, maybe try to up it. If you could kind of stay at a high pace of activity level as far as workouts, I think that's even better. I mean, you know, you're only doing yourself good by getting better in shape and stuff all year round.
Right. Well, it's like one of those things too, is, you know, I kind of mimic or second what you're saying about being in shape all year round. Um, and I'm trying to psych myself up to doing like uh, what do you like a, not a personality change, but you know,
Well, you need one of those too. No, I'm just kidding.
that obvious, huh? Not bad.
Yeah.
Lifestyle is what I'm trying to get. Lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And you know, like just and try to get to where working out is a part of life. Like, kind of like, we'll be at the gym, or, I am going to go for a walk every day. I am going to get my 15, 20 push-ups every day, or 50 push-ups every day, or what, like just, just one of those things like, no, that's just who I am,
Yeah.
Who's Eric? Oh, he's the guy that goes for 25-mile walk every Saturday morning, it's just
I think
who he is.
walking 25 miles every Saturday, man, that'd be that's a lot. Especially at just a walking pace. That'd be like, yeah, he walks 25 miles every Saturday and Sunday. He walks through the night every Saturday night.
But but just, so that way you're in shape year round. Like, I think there is some wisdom there. What you're saying is trying to be able to plan ahead and be like, hey, okay, my hunt's coming up. I do enjoy my light workout. It keeps me in shape, but I know I'm going to be up at a little bit higher elevation. I'll be carrying a heavier pack. So, I probably want to tweak stuff just a little bit more, just so that way I'm just that much better shape. But, it just comes back to wanting to do that lifestyle change. And that's the hard part. Like, it's easy to talk about it. I love talking about it.
I get myself in that trap all the time too.
But it's, trying to break your mind of that and letting go what you don't need. And so that way, like, how much more would you enjoy elk hunting if you didn't have to stop and catch your breath all the time?
Oh, man, to get that that psychological defeat out of your head whenever you're like, we need to be over on that ridge, and you're looking at it and we got to walk all that.
Right.
Like, to get that out of your head and instead just look at it and go, all right, let's go. I mean, that's kind of my goal every year is to fight those demons of like, we got to walk that, like,
Right.
I want to fight that. And especially as we get older, I mean,
right. Well, like,
it's just more important to stay in shape.
Right. And that your comment of getting older, I sure hope that when I'm 70, like, I still enjoy hunting. Like, I hope that I'm not hunted out. And I think if you do it for the right reasons, you won't be. But also, I hope that I'm in the shape that I still can do it. And that, and that kind of starts now I guess if you look at it, it's kind of an insurance policy, like, get in shape now. So that way it's going to insure you to be still hunting when you're 70.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you got to be like, Joe, or what's it? Johnny Bravo, they just, all chest and chicken legs or whatever, but just being in shape and probably drop some poundage.
Yeah. And that's probably, well, not probably, I mean, dropping the poundage is one of my biggest challenges, because I like food too much. But I enjoy working out, but man, I sure do love food too. It's
well, that's one person I talked to years ago when I was in my early 20s. There was someone that ran, and I've never been one much for running. I've been more of a weightlifter, working out and doing it that way. And I can't remember this particular person's name, but They're my age or our age at the time. And they said that they like to run because it allowed them to eat whatever they wanted. And I was, kind of was like, that makes sense. Like, as if I love going to the buffet every day, I'm going to work out hard enough to be able to keep myself doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important. And like, so speaking of all this, I would like to lay out kind of a platform that I mean, this is all just an opinion based. You could either go for it or do completely opposite. It doesn't matter. But I think having resistant training / weight training is pretty important, but you should have some level of cardio also. Um, I mean, the cardio is just going to help you get around the woods so much easier, but the weightlifting, the reason I think that it's so important is because it uh, helps you from getting injured. For one, out there in the woods, walking around over stumps and everything. I mean, you're not going to get injured as easy. And uh, do you remember that old saying from Coach that whenever he would say that?
uh,
It's something that I
I
took from
don't,
him in high school. He
well, I'm
said
sure.
he said like, he's like, the more muscle you build, the less injury you will
Oh,
get. And
right.
I'm paraphrasing. He said it differently than that, but the point is I've always kind of had that mentality of lifting weights. But the other thing too is that one moment, if you do get the elk, I mean, you have the muscle to get them out of there. But cardio is important too, because you kind of need the cardio. But it's
Right.
kind of a hand in hand thing. But I do think like weightlifting, it might be slightly more important to an extent, just to have that muscle. I mean,
Right.
you don't want to go out there and you don't want to go out there like bodybuilder. I mean, you could. I mean, it would still work or whatever, but most bodybuilders don't have a lot of cardio on them.
Right.
But it's kind of more of like an athletic build.
Right. And like, it's like one of those things too is, if you can cut your body weight down, then that's kind of in a way more of a better pack out you're going to have because you're not carrying any extra weight. And but then on, like thinking about, how to build I mean, the whole nother episode of building what you want, how to get in shape, but like compound movements, one of the things that I'm going to start doing here is jump ropes.
I
Um,
think that'd be excellent.
One is because I kind of get inspired by watching people that really know how to jump rope. And two, it's kind of a compound movement where you're jumping and your arms are moving, and you kind of can get some movement in there, do different things so that try change it up. But and then I would like to be able to be uh an awesome jump roper.
Well, it would look cool. I guess whenever you start stumbling over your words or something on the podcast, you just get up and jump rope and kind
Right.
of
Check
like,
this out.
yeah. Just look real cool, and then everything will be fine.
Right.
And everybody be like, well, that Joe guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he could jump rope like no other.
Uh,
But
I got a party trick, guys.
but what I'm saying though, like, so one thing that I'm actually gonna start doing here real soon is high intensity, is it high intensity interval training?
Yeah.
uh I'm gonna start doing that, and that kind of covers both a little bit, is that cardio side and uh and the resistant training. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited about starting it. I just went through a program and just finished it. And yeah, I'm hoping that the next like 12, 14 weeks or so, kind of dial everything in, including my food and everything. And whenever when and if I start making the good progress, I'll probably be bragging about it or whatnot on the podcast. But so to answer the question on the YouTube comment, I'm really kicking up my training right now for August or September rather. Trying to get there now. So whenever I get out there, that's not so much a variable for me as how good a shape I'm in.
Right.
And I hope it all works out. I mean, I've been kind of quiet about it, but I did talk about it in the last podcast a little bit, but so I guess I'm not that quiet about it, but I've been pretty on with it, pretty consistent with working out. And like I said, I'm just starting my training now. I'm trying to I got goals, man. I got goals.
Good. Because we got to get ready for this elk hunt this year because it's going to be epic.
Yes, it will.
I will say, if whoever's listening, you want to stay tuned for, was it 9 more months until the elk hunt? Because it'll be epic.
Well, it's about 7 actually.
7 months.
Man, the archery hunt just goes so quick.
It does.
Well, that is, I guess, if you're gonna do archery hunt, I don't know.
Right. No, hopefully it'll be some archery hunting this year.
Yeah.
One way or another.
But
I was just gonna say, I was gonna say you're correct. Archery, trying to get in that archery realm. It's coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about it. And one other thing to kind of answer the question, I know me and Joe, we can go on forever before we get to our points sometimes, especially me. I'll put that on me more than Joe, but nutrition, one thing that I like to follow, and I just feel like it's easy, is just figuring out your calories. And, a really good way to figure out your calories, at least for a base to see, and then just kind of check your weight and see if you lose weight or gain weight. I saw this on a YouTube and I tried it for a while. This is kind of back in the day, but it seemed to work. Is whatever your goal weight is that you would like as a goal weight, do that number times 12 and it'll give you like a basically what your calorie intake would be every week. And then speaking of that, just get a calorie counter app and count your calories and see how it goes. I mean, it's so complex, or it can be complex, but basically the leaner foods you eat, the more results, the faster results you're going to get. I know for me, the one that I really like, or that I lean toward a lot, is basically a veggie, a complex carb, like a rice or a sweet potato, and then a source of protein, whether it's chicken, beef, steak, deer. I really like, that always makes me feel the best, especially if I'm counting my calories and kind of keeping track and not having too big of portions. I think tonight for dinner, I might've had a little bit too much to eat, but hey, every day, just try to make a better step forward,
Right.
But that is one, like, and this just might, I mean, Joe, I don't know if you have any like areas where you like things that diets or whatever that you like to do, but that's one that I really like is just a vegetable of whatever, a portion of vegetable, a portion of like rice or sweet potato. I mean, you could even go potatoes in some circumstance, regular potatoes, because I like a mashed potato once in a while, but you just count your calories on it. And then a source of protein. And for me, that always makes me feel the best. It's just hard to be disciplined on it sometimes, but it's also the easiest to like do a meal prep where you can cook cook 5 pounds of chicken or something, then just put them in containers and eat them for the next 3 or 4 days.
Right.
I like to go about every 3 days, because after that, they're still good, but they're just not as fresh, and
Right.
So I like to cook about every 3 days.
One of the things that I want to start doing too, I was doing it for a little bit, but I'd lost it, Now they're starting to feel actually pretty good. But start doing a smoothie at night or in the morning, but mostly at night, just as a snack, because I usually tend to snack at night. So I started doing a smoothie when instead of getting up and getting cookies or bag of chips, I would get up and make a smoothie. And it would be like blueberries, strawberries, or like mangoes or whatever fruit, bananas, apples, oranges, and then I'd mix that up in a blender, and I'd throw in some protein powder, and milk. And then one of the things I'm going to start throwing in there too when I start doing it again is Greek. I think it's Greek yogurt. It has
Yeah.
a little bit better content in it. And I say that a shake because when it enters your body, it's prepared for your body to receive it. So in other words, too, is your body's not spending all the time breaking it down. So it's easier on your body. It doesn't have to like go into its high metabolized metabolic state of starting to break down whatever it is you ate. And so at this point, when it's being blended and going in, it can start pulling all the nutrients that it needs. And your body pulls its nutrients easier out of food, I believe, than it does out of vitamins. So it's a quick and easier way for you to get the vitamins that you need out of those foods too, because it's not processed. It's all natural coming to you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I know I also whenever I'm on a good trend of dieting or whatever, I'll do smoothies. And one thing that I really like about smoothies is if I feel like I'm hydrated. I can feel, makes me feel hydrated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
After I drink it or whatever, I'm just like, I feel hydrated. I don't know. But it also makes me feel better because I don't know, I just doing it or whatever, just making better moves and don't feel luggish and slow for eating too much. That's my biggest problem, especially at night. Dinner time, for some reason I've always been this way, is I just want to eat too much for dinner and stretch my stomach out, and so
get on Papa Bear's chair and sleep for the rest of the night.
Yeah, exactly. But I do have one more that I want to talk about because it's one that I really want to try. It just, from what I can tell, I've tried a few recipes here and there, but I haven't really tried. I haven't tried to do it on a day-to-day basis. So I could be a little off on this, but the reason I don't do it is because it seems like it's more kitchen time, but it's called the anabolic diet. And the premise of it is you could pretty much eat anything. I mean, you could eat pizza, cheeseburger. The idea of it, though, is you prepare it yourself and you try to get the healthier versions of everything. So you get the low fat cheese or the low fat cheese. Instead of like doing a pizza, for example, you do the low fat cheese, you find a lower calorie bread or and instead of regular pepperonis, you do like the turkey pepperonis. So there's a lot of substitutes in there, but you kind of get, it's basically a knockoff from eating a pepperoni pizza at Domino's,
right?
Compared to eating a more healthier version of a pizza. And
makes sense.
But they have a French toast recipe that I've tried. That this is one that I've actually tried, and it's so good. You put some protein powder in there and do a couple other things, and French toast. So you're having bread of all things, and you just get the low calorie bread, and that's the idea of it. Is you kind of watch your calories more than your macros and all that, and with all that, anyways, it's pretty cool diet. It just, to me, from what I can tell and what kind of makes me not go that route is just, I'm already a pretty busy person. I'm not even home. I for lunchtime, for example. So I don't have the kitchen time. But if I had the kitchen time, though, I would definitely try this anabolic diet because it does you know, the one thing about being real strict on, you know, chicken, rice, and vegetables every day is it gets boring. I mean, it just gets straight up boring. So having a little something else is kind of nice. Or to have more variety in your diet, I'd rather is kind of nice. So
right.
But that's all I got, Joe. Is
yeah.
You got any more?
No, that's all I got too. But I think the main thing, I'll just kind of, you know, wrap it up and get us out of here, close it up, is if you're thinking about, you know, working out, is do it, because you need to. Like we said before, like it's gonna give your time in the woods be more enjoyable, but also on top of that, it's gonna give you a better quality of life outside of hunting as well.
Let me jump in real quick. The harder work you do now will make your elk hunt so much easier. So the harder you do the work now, elk hunting is going to be so much more enjoyable. Just kind of a thought to get you motivated to work out. Not you, but you know,
whoever's listening.
Yeah.
So no, that's true. And but you know, so yeah, start today, do 10 push-ups tonight, and grow from there. Make yourself a little better every day. And
Joe and I are going to grab some weights and start doing curls on our podcast from here on out.
We probably should.
It wouldn't be a bad idea, huh?
Right. But thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. It means an awful lot to us that you'll give us your time. We know your time is valuable, and we really appreciate that we get to be a part of your life. And whether you're listening or watching us, we really do appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and say our goodbyes and talk to you guys later. So bye.
We're out.
Hasta